Hello, welcome to Economics and You. I'm your host, Mr. Samuelson. Today we're going to be looking at demand. This was within our unit on microeconomics while we look at demand and supply. Let's start though by talking about the marketplace. In our economy, consumers, that is anybody that buys anything, so basically everyone, have a significant impact on the price of a good. And how much the collective consumer wants a good is called demand. Now, the collective consumer is what happens when we pile everybody into that consumer pile. We're talking about, wealthy businessmen. We're talking about middle-class teachers. We're talking about the kid in the candy store. Everybody together is going to help set this price by determining how much they want a particular good. And when consumers and sellers agree on a reasonable price through a voluntary exchange, right? The consumers are willing to buy a product at a set price, and the seller is willing to sell that product at that same price. That's a voluntary exchange, and that price that they meet is determined largely by what consumers are willing to pay. Now, this aligns with the law of demand. The law of demand is something that we need to know. Now, demand represents the quantity of goods that the consumers will purchase. Okay, that's our demand, the quantity of goods that we want to purchase. Now, as the price for a good increases, demand for the good decreases, or the quantity demanded goes down. So when the price goes up, quantity goes down. And the inverse is true as well. When price goes down, the quantity demanded goes up. That is the law of demand. It's a relationship between price and quantity. Although it is important for us to understand this Latin phrase at the end, economists love Latin, ceteris paribus, which means all other things being equal. But all other things are not always equal. So this law of demand can be tricky at times. There are several other factors that impact demand. I'm going to look at three of them. The first is the real income effect. A consumer's income impacts their demand. We are all limited by how much money and wealth we have. And not even the richest person on earth, not even a Bill Gates, can have unlimited demand for something. At a certain point, there's going to be a price point at which he's not going to purchase it, or a quantity at which he can no longer purchase it. So there is that real impact that income has on us. And where our demand for a product ceases to increase is a product of this real income effect, the fact that we simply can't afford to buy any more of it. This is because our income, how much money we have, doesn't always increase. So demand for a product may increase, but we have our limits on how much we can spend. We are not going to purchase an unlimited quantity of goods, and we're not going to purchase things at an unlimited price. There's also a substitution effect. This is the second of the three effects I want us to know today. And that is that if there are two goods that are very similar, they're considered substitutes for each other. And if the price of one good, but not the other, increases, people will purchase a substitute. So you can't always say, if the price of strawberries rises by 25%, we can expect there to be this fixed set number and the decrease in demand because of that increase in price. It's going to be much greater than that because blueberries are a substitute for strawberries. And it's a very sensitive market. So if the price for strawberries goes up even a little bit, the demand is going to plummet because people are just going to go buy blueberries instead. That's one example. Obviously, substitution effect could be McDonald's hamburgers versus Burger King hamburgers. It could be a Ford car versus a GM car. A number of different things fall into this category of a substitution. The final one that I want you to know is diminishing marginal utility. Diminishing marginal utility needs to be unpacked a little bit. The phrase utility within the sentence is a term that economists use to explain consumer satisfaction. That is, how well does a product satisfy a want? So let's say that you're thirsty, right? and you go into a store and you want to buy a soda, something to quench your thirst. And you see that, for $1 you can get 12 ounces, but for $1.25 you can get 20 ounces. Well, that's a small increase in price for a large increase of volume. You may be more satisfied with the product getting that larger volume. But there is a certain point where we hit our 60-ounce drinks and our 80-ounce drinks that it doesn't matter that you're getting more for less money. Your quantity that you purchase is no longer going to keep increasing, because who wants to drink 60 or 80 ounces of soda? You only have the capacity in your stomach to hold so much. At a certain point, you're not going to be any more satisfied by a larger volume. So your willingness to pay even a fraction of the price, even 1 penny more for that extra ounce of soda, is going to vanish, because you simply have satisfied that want already. This is diminishing marginal utility. Once you have what you want out of a product, you're not going to buy any more of it, no matter how good of a deal you get on it. All right, thank you for joining me. Next time we're going to be looking at the demand curve and elasticity of demand. We'll be doing a little bit of graphing of demand and looking at what determines it. Thank you for joining me today, and farewell.